started here. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today to learn about our new release of Capture Suite 5.0. I'm Sushil John, VP of Marketing and Strategy here at IBML. I'm joining my co-hosts Chad Eiler and Andrew Lyons for today's webinar. Chad, Andrew, please say hello to our audience.
Yeah, hello, good morning and good afternoon to our attendees around the globe.
Yeah, thank you again for joining. This is a great time. We're excited about being able to share this with you today.
Just some housekeeping. While I hate to mute you all and not let you talk to us, it seems the best practice for a webinar to ensure best experience for all audience. But please feel free to send us questions using the Q&A button at the bottom of your Zoom app. We'll do our best to answer it as we go along, and we will also read out the questions for the benefit of other audience while we go along the presentation itself. While most of you attending today are our existing customers or users of IBML Capture Suite, for the benefit of others who are not, or for those of you who are not fully familiar with Capture Suite benefits, I wanted to take a couple of minutes before I pass the baton to Chad and Andrew here to just run you through a quick two intro slides. IBML Capture Suite is built to handle the market's highest volumes and most challenging demands. Capture Suite packs a serious punch when it comes to highly intelligent processing power. Capture Suite is installed in over 1,500 sites, processing the highest volume of document in the world's largest mailrooms, processing millions of pages every day. Capture Suite helps you handle from ingestion to processing to validation, output, and more. Capture Suite makes it a breeze to speed and simplify your document lifecycle. It also offers a highly advanced control center that allows you to monitor progress, operator efficiencies, and performance insights, making it the most robust, high volume, fast, real-time intelligent capture, both affordable and easy. You can use Capture Suite on any Twain or ISIS compatible scanners to simplify management and streamline your capture software licensing. You can process input from multiple sources besides scanners, whether it's email, fax, or ingest digitized documents from other sources. We help our users achieve faster ROI and greater affordability by removing the need for paper document licensing. You can process unlimited volumes without incurring extra fees. And with greater speed and accuracy, throughput problems become a thing of the past with Capture Suite 5.0. I now welcome Chad and Andrew to walk us through the specifics of what's new in Capture Suite 5.0.
Thank you, Sushil, and thanks for that overview of Capture Suite. We're really excited about the opportunity to share some great new features with you guys today. As most of you know, we are the industry leader in the ultra high speed market, and our success hinges on Capture Suite's ability to process information intelligently in line, and that's what we continue to invest and capitalize on. And so we believe we've further distanced ourselves from the competition with these great new enhancements that we're going to go through today with Capture Suite version 5.0 and Scanner Manager 7.3. So we're going to go through the new features and benefits in the application, and please chat your questions in the Q&A section of your Zoom taskbar, and I'm going to moderate the webinar for us and jump in and ask Andrew questions as you submit them. If we don't have time during the particular section, what we'll do then is queue those questions up for the end of the webinar. So if you have a question when we're on a topic, go ahead and shoot that over to me, and we'll try to get it answered for the group as soon as possible. And if we don't have time at the Q&A, then we will do a follow-up with each of you individually to make sure that any questions you have about this release get answered. All right, so we're really excited, looking forward to it. Let's jump into it. Andrew, take it away.
Thanks, Shashil and Chad, for the introduction. And just to reiterate, as we go through these features, please take the time to ask questions and understand what we are trying to accomplish. For those customers that have been with us for a number of years, you understand that we have major, minor version releases. So we've been on version 4.x for the last year and a half, 2 years. So for us to move this jump into this major 5.0 version is pivotal for us, and it's exciting. And as we get into these features, you'll be able to see why we've been able to make this leap and take advantage of some of these features that we're going to offer. So we're going to start, for those customers that have installed Capture Suite 4.9, you've already started to see some of the user interface improvements. So we improved the scan client login, and we started with the console that displays the applications available. Well, now with 5.0, we've moved this into our user applications. So for scan client, quality control, validation, client reports, and analytics, these now have our updated user interface and provides a better customer experience. And it goes right along with our Fusion scanner that we released 2 years ago. I'm going to do some live demos here in a few minutes with some of these other features, and during that process you'll actually be able to see some of these interface improvements. The next feature, and one of the most exciting features, is the ability to scan to a cloud or across a wide area network, or if customers have just networks with high latency. As most of you know, our scanners are fast, and we write real time to their final destination, which is great if you have an IT infrastructure that's local to the scanner. But we know many of you have expressed the desire to have that on a remote session. And because of that, we've added this new feature to allow you to scan in what we call a remote scanning mode, which caches these local images and the data for the batch on the local hard drive of the scanner. And then in a background process, it is uploaded to the final destination, whether that be to the cloud or across a wide area network. That process, that background process that's uploading images, does not cause the scanner to have any kind of slowdown or network or impact to the performance. So if you have high latency networks, you probably have experienced what we call a demand feed mode. The scanner will actually slow down to let the images or the SQL data catch up to writing to its final destination. With this new feature, because it's written locally, the scanner will not slow down at all, even to the fact that you can unplug the network connection after you've started a batch and scan in this offline mode until you plug it back in. We'll actually demonstrate how this works here in just a few minutes. To further illustrate some of the changes that I'll go into here in a minute, we've enhanced our administration console. So you'll see that there's a new batch upload tab, and I'll walk through this here in more detail, that will allow you to monitor those batches that are in this offline or local mode across your entire organization. So if you have multiple scanners in multiple states, using this mode, you can monitor the progress of batches being uploaded offline. You also have the ability to pause this service. So if you're doing some testing or you have a network problem and you don't want to try to send data across, you can pause this and resume it, and then do some monitoring on the local hard drive as well. So at this point, I'm going to jump into job setup and explain how this would be configured. So you'll notice I have two jobs, the remote document scanning, which is the new feature, and then one that I've called direct. This one is scanning, and I'm not in the office today, and I'm about 20 miles away from our headquarters where these images will be landing. So I'm scanning to our headquarters from a remote location, and if I go to a direct scanning mode, you'll notice the scanner will go into this demand feed mode. So to simulate that, I'll do that real quick. And I'm using what we call our simulator. We have the ability to run the scanner or run the software offline from a scanner, and it simulates capturing images. So this would be a very similar experience if you were on the scanner trying to scan across a wide area network or to a cloud infrastructure. So you'll see I'm already behind on images. I'm going to go ahead and stop it. Don't need to belabor the point. But I cannot scan successfully without the scanner stopping every 35 documents here because I'm going across a wide area network. So I can go to this new job, and the only difference between the two jobs is this single checkbox. So the direct does not have it checked, and the new feature is enabled. Now there is a lot of work behind the single checkbox, so don't want to make this feature small in nature. We have changed multiple applications, monitoring. There's just a lot that's gone on with this, but we've given you a simple way to enable it. Just one checkbox, remote document scanning mode. And I'm going to open up our administration console as well as our batch upload process. So this batch upload is a local application that runs in the system tray of the PC that has this enabled. And then you have this batch upload process. This shows batches that have been uploaded successfully. If there was an error, you would see different states here, and we'll actually demonstrate that now. So I'm going to run ScanCloud. I have it off on the other screen to demonstrate just capturing batches. And what you'll see is when a batch is finished, it's going to automatically be added to this upload queue. I'll give it just a second. Okay, so there's the first one. It gives you some basic information about the batch. You can see how many images are being sent across the network. So this is an in-progress batch. And you'll see another one come in probably before that one is finished. Be close. Oh, it just finished. And then you'll also see over here, I can monitor these batches. So if I wasn't on this PC, let's say I was in Dallas or New York or somewhere else in the country where I could access this network or this environment, I could see real-time progress updates of batches on different scanners that are in different states. So if I had multiple scanners in multiple environments, I could excuse me, I could continue to monitor that progress. When the queue is empty, it finishes. Once the upload is complete, it now becomes a batch inside of ScanCloud like it normally would have. So this is all being uploaded offline or from the local PC to the remote destination in a background process. I'll pause for just a second if there was any questions that came in and we needed to ask or answer anything.
Yeah, we've got our first question already, Andrew. So the audience wants to know, is this feature available on the prior versions of ibml scanners, such as the ImageTrack 6?
Yeah, so the great question. We are promoting this across our supported scanners from Fusion to 6v2s and the ImageTrack 6000. One thing to just keep in mind as far as security is concerned, for those customers that are using the keep images in memory option, that will not be available for this specific feature. So you can have that available for different jobs, but if you're using that feature, you would probably want to enable disk encryption on the host PC to perform the same level of security. And to do that, you might need some supporting hardware. We ask you to reach out to your account executive for more information if you're an IT6 customer and interested in using this feature.
Okay, so in the same vein of security, Andrew, we got a question about, are the images removed from the local workstation the moment they're uploaded?
Yes. Once the batch is complete and it's received on the remote system, the images and the SQL data will be removed from that local PC.
All right, here we've got another one. This remote scanning feature is not dependent on connection to the database till it's picked up for a subsequent post-scan process.
Let me try to answer that one, and if I don't, you can maybe ask it a different way. So the way I understand the question, until the batch is finished uploading, till it gets to this upload complete status, it is not even viewable as a normal batch would be. As soon as it's changed over to upload complete, it becomes available as scan complete, your closed batch status, which is generally scan complete, and then post scan would pick it up on that remote location for post scan.
Yeah, let me try to decipher this a little bit more. I think maybe the question is how dependent is the feature on the database to begin with? So, for example, do you need a database connection to actually start the batch if you're using this feature?
Okay, yes, that's a great question. To start a batch, you need to get the job parameters from wherever that destination SQL server is. So you're just copying data over. It's a very small amount of data, so latency is generally not impacted at all. So once you hit new batch and you choose your job, it goes to that cloud or across the wide area network, brings in the job parameters, and from that point on, it's not dependent on the network.
Yeah, so you need it to, you need the database connection to where the job is to initiate the batch. And then once you start scanning, if you were to lose connection or you have latency, that's where the feature masks that problem, right? And so,
yes.
And then once that database becomes available again, then the batches will transmit to that database.
Yes.
So another question around batch incremental numbering as part of the batch naming convention. For example, if you had multiple scanners and the same number during offline creation. So we'll go into maybe, I think the question is more around custom counters and batch naming conventions if you had multiple scanners, Andrew.
Okay. Well, first, we do support keywords and lookups, so daily counters and things like that are incremental. All that is supported. When you get into an area that is not supported, it's when you share counters. So if you had multiple scanners sharing a single counter, an incremental single counter, that will not be supported because you're offline at that point. You're not talking to the other scanners specifically. So it will support keywords and store procedures and counters that are not shared between other scanners. You can still auto batch, you can still increment our standard keywords and counters using store procedures or custom, but nothing shared between other scanners.
So in the same vein of that topic, so around auto batching. So the question is auto batching supported? And so I think, the answer is yes, but if you're using these shared counters, that's when you would get into an issue, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We have another question regarding are encrypted SQL connections supported as part of this?
Yes, you still have the same encryption support that you did on previous versions. I think it's IPsec, or I'm not 100% sure what that standard was, but you can still encrypt the same. The data will be sent over the same, just in an offline process.
All right, then another question about the IT6. If you want to use the remote offline mode, what should be considered? So I think, we talked a little bit about the hard drive. So maybe kind of re-explain, Andrew, if you're on an IT6, what are the things, what features would you need to consider that are enabled that would take into consideration using this feature on an IT6?
Ask that again. I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
Okay, so the question is surrounding the IT6 and what type of considerations need to be given if you want to run it on that model. So what would you, as far as the hard drive comment you made before?
If you're using the keep images in memory feature today and you want to take advantage of this feature, you want to use the disk encryption. But to do that, your hard drives might need to be upgraded. So without getting into too much detail, it might be worth talking about or getting with your account executive so we can look at the details of your current system.
Okay, so we got a little bit of pause in the questions here, so I suggest we keep moving given our time constraints. And if anybody has questions around this feature, feel free to go ahead and submit those and we'll perhaps save them for the end.
Okay. Chad, you want to take this slide?
Yeah, so the next topic we wanted to introduce you to is an enhancement to our new Fusion 7200 model. So for those of you that aren't aware, we launched a new model last year that's a little smaller and less intelligent in scope. And so it is the 7200 where the other models are 7300 and higher. So this new model is designed for smaller footprint requirements, lower capacity type of circumstances. The max speed is 292 pages per minute compared to the 317 that we have on the 7300 model. And so the idea behind this solution is to offer customers who don't need as much complexity and intelligence that the 7300 and up models offer. There's just an easier, simpler way to use our Fusion platform. And so as we have introduced this model to the market, we've had some requests around how to simplify the deployment to increase the speed in which customers could get the solution production ready. So the features we're getting ready to talk about now accelerate the time to get the system production ready.
Great, thanks for that introduction, Chad. So as Chad mentioned, the smaller footprint scanner is less expensive, it less intelligent in design. So we wanted to provide some features at Capture Suite inside of Scan that would not require you to go in and out of other applications. So if most of you are familiar with our software, if you're setting up a job, you go to job setup, then you go back to the job and run it, or you go to the PARM file, make a change to the image capture, go back to Scan and verify. If you want to do some simple QC, you have some ability in Scan, but it's very limited. So we wanted to open that up and really provide our customers with the ability to make these changes from inside of Scan Client and not have to go between these other applications. So the first one we'll get into is quality control, and I'll bring this up in Scan for just a better visual. But so if y'all are familiar with Scan or with our quality control module today, this doesn't take the place of that, but what it does do, if your volumes are low enough, because we understand that you have a scanner that's fast, you don't want to take the time to do some trivial quality control on it. But some of those customers, especially with the 7200, want to do some simple QC and fix images right there at the point of capture and not have to deal with it downstream. So what we did is we provided some simple QC functionality from inside of Quality Control Client. So, we can point out the updated interface here, and then we've got the two new tabs. We'll start with quality control. So if you want to start back at the top of the batch, you have multiple modes. You have a thumbnail and a full size mode, and then you can click around in between those just like you would inside of quality control. You can set up your image capture to look at, in this case, rear TIFF images, or maybe front and rear. So you have the ability to customize this, to change your thumbnail view. You can import images, make comments, standard editing tools for the batch that you would expect in a quality control module. So this is all now available for customers that have the 7200 and have been granted the correct permissions to be able to view batches in this mode. Again, it's to help customers be able to make quick changes without having to have a separate module for those volumes that will allow it to happen at the scanner. And then we'll jump into the camera configuration one while we're here. So we're really excited about this feature. We know that customers want to occasionally make changes. Maybe their document mix is different. Maybe they've changed the document mix or added a new document into their workflow, and they need to be able to change, for instance, the background or an edge enhancement thresholds for your TIFF capture. Even resolution, rotation, you have all control like you would in our traditional PARM software PARM file setup. This actually, for those that are familiar with the PARM setup and the job setup relationship, that has not changed, but we've done is given you an insight into the PARM file. So you can make these changes here, you can save the changes, and it actually will save and edit your PARM file that's attached to this job. And you'll see those PARM file changes will be tracked inside of PARM setup like they always have, just like you made the change in PARM setup. So now you have the ability to add, remove windows, change the compression type, change the thresholding and the rotation, the resolution. So from inside of Scan Client, you can, for image configuration changes, or camera configuration changes, you can make those now from inside of Scan Client. Does require the permission being enabled.
All right, no questions here. I think we're ready to move on.
Okay. Another change that we made for the 7200, and I'll go ahead and go to that slide real quick. So we've given you the ability, again, related to permissions, if you have the right permission, to be able to create or edit a job from inside of Scan Client. So previously, we have a wizard here, and you can edit and create an edit existing or create a new job, and it'll walk you through a wizard setup that is simple in nature. You can change your capture windows, you can add some docnetics in line, you can set up your post-scan or post-scan processing for image manipulation or image enhancements if you want to do rotation, blank page removal. All that can be done from inside of Scan Client now without the requirement to go to Job Setup. You still have the ability to edit the jobs from Job Setup, but we've made it an easier process for those customers that have these simple environments that fit this 7200 scanner model. So just a quick summary for those customers that have 7200s and want to make image configuration changes, do some simple QC, and be able to create and edit simple jobs, you can now do that all from Scan Client inside of Capture Suite. All right, we're going to introduce FODGY. I'm going to hand this back over to Chad.
So for those of you that maybe aren't quite familiar with this term, what we want to do was kind of set the stage before we got into these enhancements to make sure everybody understood what FODGY is. And so this integration that we're going to talk about relates to a US federal government standard, which is being used across many federal agencies as a criteria to ensure paper documents are converted to digital format in an acceptable fashion. So the US government has requested and sometimes required these agencies to make sure that their conversion process from paper to digital meets these types of criteria that have been designed to make sure that records can be archived in a suitable format. And there are different tools that the government has actually endorsed that help you determine whether or not your document conversion process is adhering to this standard. So what we're going to introduce you to is the way our technology interfaces with those government-sponsored tools. So we believe we're the only ones in the industry that are offering this level of integration. So if you have, if you're a federal agency, if you're a BPO that's looking to pursue this type of business to process records for the government, we've got the most sophisticated way to ensure that your scanning solution meets these requirements of the U.S. government. So now we're going to talk about how our integration works.
Yeah, thank you, Chad, for that introduction. So as we get into this and how important it is to our customers, especially domestically, that we have this new feature now that is integrated into Scan that gives you some auditability, so you can require that it happen in Scan before it lets you continue, and then pass or fail, you get the results back from the software into Scan for this visual representation of what's going on. So I'm going to jump into the software and just give a visual of this for those customers that are interested. So right out of the gate, when you start a job that's connected to FODGY, you have the ability to say yes or no here. Yes will allow you to scan and get into this testing mode. No just brings you back to the new open or exit screen. So from inside of here, you get, the operator will be notified that they're in this compliance mode. And depending on how they have it configured, they'll see front, rear, or front and rear. And then they go into a hand feed mode. This is actually at the scanner. They have a test target that they will get from Golden Thread. Stand by. Sorry, I launched this with in the background while he was talking. Let me make sure this started.
So while you're doing that, just to re-emphasize that Golden Thread software and the DICE targets are products that are independent of IBML. They are provided by a separate vendor. If you're interested in getting information about those, send us a note, send us a question. We'll be happy to send you the links where you can get the software and the targets from.
Yeah, and this, if you look on the screen here, this target is actually the target that you would have to purchase that goes along with the Golden Thread software. What we've done here is we've interfaced with that Golden Thread software across the network. So if you have multiple scanners and you're wanting to have this FODGY compliance on each scanner, you only need one instance of the software, and then you would run the target. It's going to go out, send the image there, and then get the results back. This process to analyze the image takes a few minutes, and then you'll see the front and rear camera, whichever you have enabled, will get a pass or fail. At any time during the results here will be stored on a local drive based on your configuration. So you can configure whether this is stored and for auditability. You can collect support data if there's a problem. Once you hit continue scanning, now you're in the mode of just scanning. You've verified that you have passed the requirements that you have defined, and now you're able to scan like you would with the assurance that your quality has met FODGY standards. And you have the ability during the FODGY, it's very customizable, so you can do hours or days, how often this test is required, front, rear, or both cameras, and then you can figure out where your jobs are going to attach to, and then the results are stored.
So those settings are generally driven by the particular requirements of the agency. So an agency may have to verify that their scanning solution is tested every day. It could be every week. It could be every month. It could be every 4 hours, for example. So that's why we've given you the flexibility to set this requirement up, because the different agencies, different work processes just will require the certification at different intervals.
Right along with that, we have given our customers the ability to verify FODGY inside of PARM setup, more for diagnostic and testing purposes. You won't have the auditability here that's stored with the database, but you will have the ability to test this. So PARM setup also has this in the image quality diagnostic utility.
Okay, Andrew, we did get a question to further explain, does it require a separate IBML license?
Yes. So you get with your account executive if you're interested in FODGY. We do have a license that's required for each scanner that you are wanting to run FODGY testing on. Any other questions before we move on?
We're good at this point. We can keep rolling.
Right along with the FODGY is the support for PNG lossless format inside of Capture Suite. So if you're a customer that needs lossless format, we have JPEG 2000, but you're not going to get the throughput that you would with a PNG capture. So if a lossless format is required, we recommend PNG. It runs at full speed if you're at 55 IPS, 80 or 83 IPS, or if you're a 7200 customer at 50 IPS. Full speeds with PNG lossless capture on the Fusion scanners and 6B2. Okay, for time's sake, I'll continue and we'll come back if we need to. Another feature we're super excited about, and we know that almost every customer has had this problem and said, you know what, we just can't do anything about it. Well, we have a solution now for handwriting recognition. So previously, from the slide in here, you have the constrained handprint. We have a few customers doing this today with our current OCR engine. With this new release, we've given our customers the ability, we're providing our customers the ability to be able to recognize handwriting recognition, handprint, cursive handwriting, and we'll just jump into this next slide, difficult machine print. So for those customers that have difficult machine print or handwriting, cursive, we now have a solution in postscan that'll give you the ability to get these images. You can do full page OCR, you have key value ability to do zonal recognition, but really hone in on this data to be able to extract it and not leave it up to complete key from image type scenarios. So quickly and easily be able to extract very difficult cursive, handwriting, and machine print, especially if you have archive or old historical documents. This is a great success for this new feature that we're providing.
Okay, question here, Andrew. Is this included with the release, or is this licensable, and how would we get the license?
So this is a licensable product. This is one of those, get with your account executive. We'll look at the opportunity, decide exactly what you need to be able to be successful. There's several combinations on how this would be delivered, but it is an add-on feature to Capture Suite.
Okay.
Last but not least, we have provided the Micker Plus ICR for CMC7 support. Domestically, we've been doing this with the E13B US checks, and now we're expanding this to a better algorithm for those customers that are in Europe or even Canada that have the CMC7 requirement. We now combine this Micker Plus ICR to give you a much better read. So this option in job setup, you just have a drop down now to choose between the different fonts you would want to support. And then some general features. With 4.9 and a few patches, we released some features that we want to promote now. We offer in postscan LZW image format. We've provided a new PDF engine in postscan that supports A2 and A3 formats. For lockbox customers, we've enhanced that for the DLN capabilities. Our security and compliance with 5.0 is what we call OWASP certified or compliant. We now support Windows 10 21H1, and the PDF compressor was updated in 4.9.3, and it also supported the new formats A2 and A3, so that was kind of a combo. So that wraps up the Capture Suite features. We have any last questions or anything that we want to answer before we move on?
I think we've got our list all taken care of that have been asked through the Q&A and the chat window. We've got a couple more minutes that Sushil's going to walk us through one more slide. So if you have any other questions, go ahead and send those in as we're getting close to the finish line here.
Okay, I'm going to hand it over to Sushil. Thank you so much for being a part of the demonstration for 5.0. We are looking forward to our customers, to you specifically using this feature, reaching out to us with feedback. You guys make this possible for us, and we really are excited to bring these features to market. Sushil?
Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, Chad, for that overview and demo. You guys kept it interesting. But as a customer, what if you want to extend your current robust high-volume capture capabilities in ibml Capture Suite with the more intelligent document processing capabilities and without dramatically increasing your capture costs? We can help you supercharge your intelligent document processing capabilities with ibml Cloud Capture. So what is ibml Cloud Capture? Andrew, if you could click for me. Yeah, thank you. You can extend your capture capabilities with optional ibml Cloud Capture. By combining both Capture Suite and Cloud Capture, you can process only documents that need advanced capture capabilities through ibml Cloud Capture subscription, minimizing your overall capture costs. You can handle all your content types from unstructured to structured content. You can use robotic process automation to integrate with or validate with line of business applications or minimize repetitive human actions, reduce manual intervention, and provide high accuracy with a platform powered by machine learning. You can store, search, retrieve, and view content from a single platform and integrate easily with your existing content repositories, such as Microsoft SharePoint or Microsoft Azure Content Services. If you want to learn more about Cloud Capture, we have an upcoming webinar very soon about the only cloud-native platform that combines capture services, process services, and content services in one platform that you pay as you go and only pay for features you use. Join us at our next webinar. Andrew, if you can move on. For next webinar, same time, same day next week, to learn more on how we can use Cloud Capture to solve accounts payable or accounts receivables invoice processing challenges. That is on Wednesday, February 16th at 9 a.m. And I have the registration site up there on the bar, which is go.ibml.com/AP_webinar. Thank you all for taking the time to be with us today and attend our webinar today itself.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all.